Hi, we're Alex, Arshad, Samir, Casey, and Evan. Today, we'll be talking to you about what we think the biggest challenge that manufacturers face is. Next slide, please. From producing all the products that we know and love to enabling a sustainable future for humanity, manufacturing plays a fundamental role in societies across the globe. If it were not for this industry, civilizations would be nowhere near as technologically advanced as they are today. Because of society's heavy reliance on manufacturing, it is imperative to mitigate major challenges that the industry faces. Next slide, please. Today, manufacturers are met with challenges such as replenishing shrinking skilled labor forces, integrating machine intelligence and robotics into the production cycle, and combating global competitors. None of these challenges are trivial, but the main challenges that manufacturers must overcome is responding to consumer demand volatility. Next slide, please. Generally, strong consumer demand is a sign of success for a producer, but when it cannot be kept up with, severe problems arise. As a matter of fact, industry experts like Dr. Rashidi himself state that keeping up with ever-growing demand for better products is a major barrier for companies to overcome. Next slide.
So what causes demand volatility? It can be caused by a myriad of different things. For instance, the nature of a given industry, like the fashion industry, for example. In an industry where the consumer's demands quite literally change with the seasons, it can be hard for manufacturers to keep up with these rapid changes in demand, especially at the volume that these goods are being produced at. In addition, some things like global events can also cause volatile demand. Large-scale events can cause these changes, such as historically the World Wars, where manufacturing had to rapidly adapt to producing military gear in order to help the war effort. Most recently, though, the COVID pandemic altered the general population needs to valuing things like hand sanitizer and toilet paper more, leading to a spike in their demand. Also, new legislation can also change demand. Government goals like the USA's goal of having electric vehicles account for 50% of cars by 2030 will increase demand for electric cars as a good, and therefore increase the need for car components like batteries to be produced. Next slide, please.
Volatility in demand is perfectly described by a phenomenon called the bullwhip effect. This phenomenon describes how small fluctuations in demand at the retail level can cause progressively larger fluctuations in demand at the wholesale, distributor, manufacturer, and raw material supply levels. Keeping up with these changes is key in order for manufacturers to maintain profitability in their industries. Next slide, please. Our first example involves toilet paper. During the peak panic of the first wave of COVID-19, customers ran to the store to buy any toiletries they could for the foreseeable future. This resulted in an international shortage of toilet paper, leading to even bigger problems in manufacturing. As you can see in the bottom left graph, the number of out-of-stock markets skyrockets in March 2020 and peaks at 73% of all markets in April. Although manufacturers have been able to catch up now, companies like Georgia-Pacific are manufacturing 1.5 million more rolls per day in order to prepare for another demand surge. Another recent example of this is the electronic demand surge that caused an international semiconductor shortage. Microchips are used in many electronic devices. With the majority of microchip manufacturers being located in Asian countries, some global legislation stopped imports from them, resulting in a worldwide shortage of these chips. With the shift to remote school and work, there was a sharp increase in demand for technology like phones, laptops, and computers with no supply to meet it. The automotive industry is perhaps most widely known to have been affected by the chip shortage, alongside the healthcare industry and other applications of AI. Most supply chains are designed to be cost-effective, but limited visibility and lack of real-time communication between suppliers and manufacturers can manifest itself in the bullwhip effect. As you can see in the bottom right, fabrication plants, or fabs, have been running at greater than 80% utilization since the beginning of the pandemic. According to the New York Times, it will take about 2 years of lead time and billions of dollars in order to restore this issue. Next slide, please.
So why can't this increased demand be met? Well, like mentioned in the last slide, one of the factors is high lead times. The longer it takes for a manufacturer to get the raw materials they need to make a good, the longer it takes them for actually to start producing that good and get it to the customer. In addition, inflexible manufacturing can also cause one to be unable to meet these demands. If a manufacturer can only produce one product and a customer's demand moves away from that product, then they won't be able to adapt to these new demands and produce different parts with the equipment and technology that's available to them. Lastly, a lack of information can cause this too. Key manufacturing knowledge that is only gained through years of experience can be lost during the replacement of old employees with new ones. Next slide, please.
One potential solution to fix this rapid consumerism is agile manufacturing. So putting a focus on a rapid response to customer needs can get goods out a lot faster and manufactured. So agile companies are better able to capitalize on these fast changes to customer demands and like the swinging of trends. So the four main components are listed here. So you have modular product design, you have access to information technology, as Evan was talking about, you have strong corporate partners, as well as promoting a knowledge culture between employees and the company. Next slide, please.
Modularity in this sense refers to a design that can be quickly altered in parts and allow for rapid variation between iterations. This ability to vary a singular component of an assembly as opposed to remanufacturing the entire assembly puts less strain on the manufacturer, since the focus can be placed on interchangeable components and allows the consumer to only replace an aspect of their product when absolutely necessary. Take, for example, this abandoned Google smartphone project. Project R was a modular phone design in which components such as the screen, camera, storage, and processor could be replaced independently of one another. This allows the manufacturer to focus more intensely on technology that evolves rapidly, without having to repackage old technology every year just for the sake of minor spec improvements. Information technology can refer to transparent access of information between the suppliers, manufacturer, distributor, retailer, and consumer. Advancements in this space can help mitigate the bullwhip effect, which was mentioned earlier. If all these stakeholders have access to the same database of information, the bullwhip effect can be decreased in that the retailer will not overreact to behaviors of the consumer, distributors will not overcompensate for increased orders from the retailers, and so on. Additionally, enhanced and transparent access to supply chain information can in turn lead to improved simulations and models, which can more accurately depict ebbs and flows in consumer demand, allowing manufacturers to predict and respond to volatility more efficiently.
Also, having strong relationship with corporate partners can help push out products faster. So if a company creates relationships with their suppliers or with other companies, you can have quicker development. Things like this have been seen with Volvo and the seat belts going into cars. Volvo had a great idea, but then shared it with their corporate partners to get those manufactured and out to other companies faster. Also, having a good knowledge culture amongst employees. So if a company focuses on having quality, well-trained employees, then the company itself can succeed and more goods can be manufactured. So having a team-focused culture and investing in training can create a sense of loyalty within the company. Next slide, please.
Modular product design, information technology, corporate partnerships, and a knowledge culture are the four main aspects of agile manufacturing. These practices result in rapid manufacturing response to fluctuating demands, faster iterations to cater to consumer needs, transparent information across the supply chain, cross-industry collaboration, and a much larger investment in human capital.
Today, we discussed why appropriately responding to volatile consumer demands is the main challenge that manufacturers face. Large-scale implementation of agile manufacturing should allow consumer demands to be better responded to. This will allow both manufacturers to have a smoother production cycle and products to be effectively placed into the hands of customers. Thank you.